If you open your refrigerator right now, or look back at the last meal you ordered, you are likely looking at a crime scene of survival. There is an incredibly high probability that the DNA of your daily diet traces back to a single geographic coordinate in the American South. A city that has been completely submerged by water, raised by fires, and left for dead more times than almost any other metropolitan area in the Western world. We aren't talking about the obvious suspects like gumbo or jambalaya. We are talking about everyday culinary mechanics, the literal engineering of the modern sandwich, the tactical response to global trade blockades, and the chemistry of survival under pressure. This isn't a standard food tour. This is a forensic investigation into how a city under constant siege became the secret architect of the American palate. Welcome to the Origine Plate. Today, we are cracking open the case files of 10 culinary inventions born directly out of New Orleans chaos. Our first case file takes us to the year 1929 during a brutal streetcar strike. Over 1,000 transit workers walked off the job, leaving them with absolutely no wages coming in. Two brothers, Benny and Clovis Martin, who ran a small coffee stand in the French market, made a defining decision. They were going to feed every single striking worker for free. But philanthropy has a structural limit: the bread. Case file number 2. The snail sabotage of 1899. At Antoine's, the oldest continuously operating family restaurant in the country, the crown jewel of the menu was a French import, snails bourguignon. But in the late 1890s, an unpublicized supply chain collapse occurred. Transatlantic shipping delays meant French snails were completely unavailable. Facing an elite clientele demanding luxury, Chef Jules Alciatore pulled off a brilliant bait and switch. He looked to the local mudflats and replaced the missing snails with native Gulf oysters. Our third investigation explores a demographic collision that created a structural anomaly: the muffaletta. Walk into any traditional bakery in Sicily, and you will find a dense, round, sesame-seeded bread called a muffaletta. But you will never find it served as a sandwich. That hybridization happened in 1906, inside a dense, immigrant-heavy enclave of New Orleans known as Little Palermo. Salvatore Lupo, a Sicilian immigrant running Central Grocery, watched his daily customers, mostly blue-collar Italian farmers, buying round loaves of bread, rounds of salami, blocks of provolone, and jars of pickled olive salad separately. Case file 4. The 1951 import glut. In the mid-20th century, the port of New Orleans became the undisputed banana capital of the Western Hemisphere, receiving millions of tons of fruit from Central America. The docks were literally drowning in perishable inventory. Owen Brennan, a prominent restaurateur, needed a high-volume solution to liquidate this massive influx of fruit before it rotted. He issued a high-pressure, single-day ultimatum to his kitchen staff. Our fifth entry reveals a culinary craze that nearly resulted in ecological extinction: blackened redfish. In March of 1980, Chef Paul Prudhomme unleashed a cooking style that defied traditional culinary science. He coated an overlooked, low-value trash fish called red drum in an intense layer of cayenne, garlic, and thyme, throwing it into a dry cast-iron skillet heated to over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The spices instantly carbonized, forming a dark, protective, intensely flavorful shell that flash-steamed the fish internally. Case File 6. The almond deficit. Long before it became a foil-wrapped souvenir, the praline was a hard, brittle confection cooked in 17th-century French tow. Made by coating scarce, expensive almonds in caramelized sugar. When French settlers landed in the hostile climate of early Louisiana, their supply lines to Europe were virtually non-existent. Almonds could not survive the humid climate. Rather than abandoning the confection, early chefs looked upward to the native forests. Investigation 7 focuses on an international refugee trail: the beignet. This square pocket of fried dough is often romanticized as a Parisian pastry, but its journey to New Orleans is a story of forced migration. The recipe was preserved by the Acadians, French settlers, who were brutally expelled from eastern Canada by British forces in 1755. Stripped of their wealth and land, these refugees carried little more than oral histories and rustic yeast recipes down the Mississippi River, settling in the swamps of Louisiana to become the ancestors of the Cajuns. Case File 8: The Great Vineyard Plague. In 2008, Louisiana took the unprecedented step of declaring the Sazerac as the official state cocktail. But the liquid inside that glass is the product of an international biological disaster. In the 1830s, an apothecary named Antoine Peychaud mixed his proprietary herbal bitters with imported French cognac to create a medicinal tonic. For 40 years, this cognac-based drink was the standard. Then, in the late 1860s, a microscopic parasite called phylloxera crossed the Atlantic and systematically wiped out up to 90% of all the vineyards in France. Our ninth investigation centers on a mid-century demographic fusion: charbroiled oysters. For over a century, oysters in the American South were consumed in two ways: raw on ice or fried in cornmeal. But in the late 1970s, a massive influx of Croatian immigrants settled along the Mississippi Delta, taking over the dangerous labor of oyster dredging. Drago Fitanovic, a Croatian immigrant operating a small seafood house, noticed a cultural disconnect. While Americans loved raw oysters, many immigrant families preferred their seafood cooked with intense, direct heat. Our final case file is perhaps the most explicit example of weaponized logistics: the hurricane. During the heights of World War II, domestic grain distilleries were completely requisitioned by the United States government to produce industrial alcohol for the war effort. Domestic whiskey, bourbon, and rye vanished from commercial markets. Simultaneously, cargo ships moving up from the Caribbean were dumping millions of gallons of unrationed, low-grade rum onto the docks of New Orleans. Liquid distributors, desperate to move this low-tier inventory, implemented a ruthless extortion scheme. They refused to sell bar owners a single case of precious domestic whiskey unless the bar agreed to purchase up to 50 cases of raw rum. 10 distinct items. 10 case files of absolute chaos. This is a city that looked at labor strikes, economic blockades, species depletion, and wartime shortages, and used them as raw materials to build a completely unique culinary identity. If you want to know where the true soul of American food culture resides, you don't look to the trendsetters, you look to the survivors. Thank you for investigating with us today on the Origine Plate. If this deep dive into the architecture of your food hit different, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below with the history you want us to crack open next, and as always, stay curious.